Story 1. Am I the asshole for not forgiving my husband, 26M, for a mistake and not trusting him with our child? I, 24F, gave birth to my daughter 6 months ago, and it should have been the happiest moment in my life. When my daughter was born, her skin was very dark and looked like she could have two biological parents who were of African descent. My husband Jim, 26M, fake name, was furious and accused me of cheating and left right then and there. He told everyone on both sides of the family what happened, made posts on social media, and wanted a divorce. His family and a lot of our friends all called to say how upset they were at me and called me really nasty names. My mother was by my side the entire time, and I kept professing my innocence. Jim refused to pick me up from the hospital, threw my stuff out on the lawn, and changed the locks, so I had to stay with my parents. When my sister called to ask for the baby stuff, Jim texted me pictures of the bare nursery room and said he got rid of everything. He even destroyed my art studio. I like to paint, and the art I made, and told me my work would be too awful to sell. I was distraught and tried to focus on my baby. Weeks went by, and Jim refused to speak to me directly and has never once asked about our child. Eventually, he agreed to do a paternity, and he was 100% the father. No one could believe the results, and it was done again. Jim's the dad. Around that same time, one of Jim's cousins did the ancestry thing, and there was around 30% of African ancestry in the family. This, combined with the test, Jim's paternal great-grandmother admitted to having an affair around the time Jim's grandfather was born, and was because he could pass, she just assumed her husband was the father. Since then, Jim has been reaching out, and everyone has come to apologize, and while it did feel good to feel vindicated, the damage has been done. I can't unhear or unsee all the horrible things that was said and done, not just to me but to my child as well. Jim made some very racist remarks, things that I thought he'd never say, and he did it so easily. Regardless of what our daughter looks like, I don't want her to be around that. What else will Jim and his family say or do the next time they get mad? How are they going to treat our daughter when she does something that upsets them? Jim has been begging for forgiveness. I said I needed time. He asked to see the baby, and I let him, but I'm too afraid to physically hand her to him. He's repairing the nursery and keeps asking me what I would like, and I cry every time saying we already had what I liked, and some of the items that we had can't be replaced. He asked me if I still loved him, and I admitted that he showed me his worst self, and I don't know if I could live with that image. I didn't mean to be hurtful, but it's how I feel. My sister suggested couples therapy, but I don't feel like I should have to work to fix something that I didn't break. I've never cheated and have been 100% innocent in all of this, the whole. Am I the asshole for not wanting to give Jim a second chance?
I think she is not an asshole. What do you guys think? Comment below. Story 2. Would I be the asshole if I tell my kids my story of their moms and my divorce? Have 2 kids, 15 and 10. My ex Betty and I divorced 9 years ago. It was pretty ugly. I was very focused on my career, I moved us to another country, and wasn't the best partner. Nothing terrible, but I get why Alice wasn't a fan. She ended up cheating on me with a bunch of people, lying, hiding, and all that. Ended up mutually deciding to split. Betty's main affair partner, Frank, was actually a really cool guy. In a different world, we would have been buddies. She cheated on him too, though, and he bounced, understandably. He told me about a whole bunch of her lies that she had hid from me and that he uncovered. The cheating and all was definitely way worse than I thought it was. I love my kids more than I dislike Betty, and I didn't want to get into the gory details. Until I learned that Betty is saying that me and Frank were too immature to be in a relationship, and that Frank, who they adored, abandoned them. I'm livid about this, and I want to tell them. I also don't want to alienate them from their mom. My dad and mom divorced were terrible to each other, and I don't want to recreate that violence in my kids' life. Really confused and looking for a judgment call here. Am I the asshole?
I think he is an asshole. What do you people think? Comment below. Story 3. Am I the asshole for telling my niece the family secret? I, 35F, had 2 older sisters growing up, Jane and Kim. Kim got sick and died, but not before giving birth to my niece, Laura, 18F. It had been a year after Kim's passing when Jane and Laura's dad, Tom, 42M, confessed to dating and were now engaged. Everyone was surprised, but no one was vocally disgusted as me. I accused them of cheating. Jane and Tom explained that this wasn't something that they planned, but there was no cheating and knew that Kim would want them to be happy. Convenient since she's, dead. I did not attend the wedding and was upset at how everyone else was so accepting of the relationship. But the thing that hurt me the most was how Jane and Tom intended to completely erase Kim from Laura's life. She was barely 2 when Kim died, and they decided it would be better if Laura thought Jane was her mother in every sense of the word after the adoption was finalized. Tom got rid of any items that would suggest he and Kim were ever in a relationship and made his family swear to never tell Laura the truth. Jane expected everyone on our side of the family to do the same, but I refused, and as such I was denied access to Laura. It hurt, but when I thought about all those times Kim cried knowing that she wouldn't live long enough to see Laura grow up, there was just no way I could honor the lie. They even had Laura's name legally changed to something that Jane liked, as Kim picked out Laura's first name. I distanced myself from my family over time over this, but my parents always tried to get us to reconcile, citing that they didn't like this arrangement either, but accepting it was better than not being a part of Laura's life at all. I just couldn't do it. Growing up, Laura had known of me, but we never really interacted. Apparently, she's interested in studying a field that I work in and reached out to me through social media. The last time I saw her in person, she was 7, and I started to tear up at how much she looked like Kim. We would talk from time to time, and eventually Laura asked why I wasn't around. I tried to keep it vague, but Laura knew that there was more to the story, as I didn't seem like the person I was described to be. If we had been talking through DMs like before, I probably wouldn't have done it, but we were video chatting and something about looking directly into her eyes broke me, and I confessed to everything. Before Kim died, she and I made a series of videos for Laura to watch at her big moments, and I told her that if she ever wanted to watch any of them, I'd send them. Laura asked me to send some, and then I heard nothing from her for days. Recently, I got a call from an enraged Jane and Tom berating me for ruining their family. After Laura watched some of the videos, she confronted my parents, who confirmed everything. Laura has moved out and currently not speaking to anyone, and no one knows where she is right now. Everyone is angry at me. Am I the asshole?
I think she is not an asshole. What do you people think? Comment below.
Story 4. Am I the asshole I want nothing to do with BFF's cheating husband? My BFF, 28F, and I, 28F, have a friendship that goes back 20 years. Her and her husband started dating freshman year in college and were married about a year and a half ago. We have our friendship, plus a long time of being couple friends. About 3 months ago, my BFF called me devastated. Her husband admitted to an affair, he leased an apartment, and leaving their marriage. My BFF swore us to secrecy because of the shame of the affair. 2 nights after he left, he came crawling back. He was afraid he couldn't afford the apartment he leased. She took him back. They've been in couples therapy and individual therapy since. I voiced concern for her because I didn't trust his motivation for coming back. But I told her and have been telling her that it's not my marriage and they need to do what's best for them. And I hope they find healing in therapy. He also quit his job as per her request to cut off contact with the other woman, so now she's the sole breadwinner paying for their household and his impulse apartment. Her and I have been talking, and I try my best to stay neutral and supportive. She tells me about processing her anger, and I just say things like, "I bet it's hard," and "What you're feeling is normal." She'll tell me about the progress he's making, and I'll say things like, "That's good," and she picks my responses apart, accusing me of being against him. I try to keep conversations focused on a variety of topics and ask her about herself and her healing journey. She doesn't really have much interest in my life or what I'm going through in my own things. It's become exhausting for me to talk to her. They have a wedding coming up that they are both in. The wedding is taking place in the town I live in. She wanted to know if they could see us while they're in town. I told her I'm not ready to see her husband, and my husband is definitely not ready to see him. She was very upset at my response that I'm not ready to see her husband and accused me of punishing her for staying with him. I said I am very impressed and respect the work she's doing and don't judge her at all. I'm just not ready to see him. The incident really ruined his character to me. I told her they are 2 separate people that I hold in separate esteem, and what I think of him is not a reflection of her. I've also told her many times I care about him as a person and hope he finds healing in this process too. I don't know when I'll be ready to see him, but it's just not now. She was upset with my response and the conversation ended. Today, her husband messages me and asks to talk, and he doesn't want me punishing his wife for his mistakes. I didn't respond to him, but sent her a message letting her know that I wasn't happy my boundary of not wanting to talk to him wasn't respected. I want to be a supportive friend, but I'm at my wit's end. Am I the asshole?
I think she is not an asshole. What do you people think? Comment below. Story 5. Am I the asshole because I want to spend Christmas at our home and not at my in-laws? My wife, 30, and I, 28, are debating where to spend Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. My wife wants to go to her parents' house, which is a 4-hour drive from where we live. Then we will need to return to our house because she has work on the 26th morning. I told her that I don't want to go because for sure I am the driver, and that will be tiring for us and our son, 3. And she said that her sister can fetch them from our house if I don't want to go to them. I told her, okay, I think I'm going to spend Christmas alone. Then she said, fine, no problem. Now, I'm here to ask for advice. I want to spend this holiday with them, but her family is so clingy. For sure, her parents are going to be mad at me when I don't let them come. P.S. I'll pick being home alone at Christmas than go to somebody else's house tired and with nothing to do except wait to go home.
I think he is not an asshole. What do you people think? Comment below. Subscribe for more interesting stories.